All right, in this video, we're going to discuss two topics. Number one is going to be how to import data from the web. And number two, how to run a macro to organize the data, whether it be putting it in alphabetical order or maybe sorting data in an ascending or descending order. So number one, you may want to do this because let's say you work for a company that has some kind of reporting system that gives employee information and provides their stats or metrics, their key performance indicators, whatever it might be that the employees are measured on. And I'm kind of going to give you an example here. I have a file already set up in it's temporary page.html. It's a file that's stored on my desktop, but it's an example of an HTML file that already has data here. Many organizations will provide this kind of information, some kind of reporting system where you pull up an intranet web page that can be accessed within the company firewall, and you'll have this kind of data. The data that I have here, I mean, it's everything is in a, we have the employees on the left, and on the top we have the month ranges, and then of course there's percentages here. In this specific example, these are percent of callbacks, customers calling back because an agent may not have resolved the customer's primary issue or their adjacent issue. So these are customers that have called back within a period of 48 hours. So for example, we have Robert up here. In the month of January 2011, about 16% of his customers call back within 48 hours of the initial call. So let me show you how we can import this data into Microsoft Excel. I mean, number one, we could copy and paste it, but a lot of times the organization that you work with, if they have this kind of system, the web URL is going to remain the same and the page format is going to remain the same, and Microsoft Excel can recognize that. So I'm going to just use this file name. I'm going to copy it, go to Excel, select the range where we're going to want to import the data. Under the data tab, go on and select from web. I'm just going to paste the address since I already have it here and hit go. And if you notice in Excel, you're able to select the table that you want to retrieve data from. So I'm going to select this table and hit import. And it's going to ask me to select the cell that I want to set it in. So it's already set at C3. I'm going to go on and hit OK. And there we have it. We have the data imported. Now let's say the following day the information was to change. Instead of you having to set all this up again, all you'll have to do is go to your connections and select the first connection here. This is the one that we set up. We can click the properties to double check that. And if we were to look at the definition, we'll see that the connection string is the temporary page.html file that I already had set up. So I'm going to go on and hit OK. And all you would do is click refresh, and the data would be refreshed. Now that we have the data, you may want to run a macro to either sort the names or maybe sort the agents by their performance, by the most recent month, whatever it might be. You could automate it or you could do it manually. To do it manually, you would simply highlight the row that would be your header and click filter. And under filter here, we can sort the names in A to Z or Z to A, whatever would be your preference. Or if you don't want to do that, you could go over here to whatever month you want to look at. Let's say we want to look at October 2011. We could sort the agents by their performance, smallest to largest. These would give you your top performing agents because they have the fewest amount of callbacks, whereas the agents down towards the bottom would be the I would hate to say it, but these are the low performers, agents that are having more callbacks. So these are agents that we may want to focus on, especially if they typically trend in that direction. What we'll look at here is how to make Excel do this automatically for you. So let's just do a macro real quick. The very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take off the filter that we've already set, because this will cause your macro to get an error if you try to call the filter and it's already visible, or if you try to hide the filter when the filter is no longer there. You can get an error. So let's get this set up here. We're going to go to the developer tab. We're going to do record macro, and we'll just put sort names. And right now it's in recording mode. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to select sheet 1, highlight the headers, go on and select filter, sort the names from A to Z, and then take off the filter Let's just go on and just select C4, and we can stop recording. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the data in our connections. And by doing that, we should retrieve the initial data set that we had where the names were not in alphabetical order. So I'm going to refresh it. Okay, the data has been refreshed, and as we can see, the names are, again, not in order, back in the same original data set. So we'll just run the macro that we created earlier. Macros, I'm just going to go on and select sort names and run. And just like that, the macro has been executed, and the names are now in alphabetical order. Now, if you are curious about the code, there's two ways that you can access it. Number one, click Visual Basic. Go to your modules. Because we've only recorded one macro, I mean it's going to be in module 1. And here we have the sort names. As you can see, the first line of code, we select sheet 1. We select the range C3 to O3, which were the headers. Selection out of filter. This is when we click the filter button, and it caused the filters to come up here. The next section here, we're putting the names in ascending order. A couple more things that Excel will do here for you. Selection out of filter. All this is turning it back off. It's the same command as up here before, as we use it up here, but just pressing it again will turn it off. And then selecting C4. Now this was one way to view the macro code. You didn't need to go this route to see it. All you have to do is go to the Developer tab, Macros, and you can simply click the Sort Names macro and click Edit. And this is a very simple macro. Macros can become far more complex than this, to the point to where you can automate the web query. And then right as soon as the query is run, you could run this macro or other macros that you may need or would like to do in order to prepare a report. Hope you enjoyed this video. This does conclude this portion. Thank you for watching.